Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this OTR Life. I'm Steve, also known as the Flying Smurf. Today, I'm going to talk about something that's probably not going to go over all that well with a lot of people, but it kind of needs to be talked about and needs to be said. You know, so often I hear so many drivers complaining about so many things, everything. And one of the things I don't really hear all that often. In fact, I've been sitting here trying to think of if I've ever heard it at all, and I'm kind of coming up on a blank here. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, man. Drivers need to start taking some responsibility for the way things are. Okay, there's lots of things that's within our control that, as a group, industry wide, we're kind of failing at. Okay. Just to use something that's happened recently with my own company, who I think is a great company to work for. And it felt like a mega carrier style rule. It felt like something like if you were working for a mega carrier, that, this is the kind of stuff that they do. And I had the thought that, maybe it's not all the mega carriers' fault for all the rules and policies and all the crap that they have that a lot of drivers just freaking love to piss and bitch and moan about. Maybe they have all those rules because they've got a bunch of crap drivers. I don't know how to put it nicely. And I'm not usually one to mince words. Let's face it, okay? There are some horrific fucking truck drivers out here these days. The crap that I see on a regular basis I see it all the time, everywhere I go. Whether it's in a shipper, a receiver, a truck stop, or out on the freaking road, man. Guys just doing all kinds of just blatant dumb shit. Okay? And that doesn't even get into the the stuff you see at truck stops with guys throwing their garbage everywhere, pissing into the parking lots, looking like complete slobs everywhere. It's one thing at a truck stop if you're going to walk up and get a shower and you throw your sweatpants on. I don't really take too much of an issue with that, but at a customer, it's so fucking unprofessional. It just drives me nuts, and that's the main thing. What I just said, professional. I don't see a lot of professionals out here. And so oftentimes the more I think about it, the more I can't blame some of these carriers for doing the crap that they do. Even my own company. They did something, it wasn't really that big of a deal, but they sent an email out a couple months ago when the cost of fuel started really skyrocketing. To paraphrase and put it into my own language, it was a cry for help. Basically the gist of it was, guys, the cost of fuel is getting outrageous. Can you please help us a little bit? Set your crews 1 mile per hour slower than what you would normally run. We would really like to lower this overhead cost so that we can continue to pay our employees the way they deserve to be paid and remain profitable, right? They left it up to the drivers, and unfortunately, not enough drivers gave a shit enough to do anything about it. And I know that because every month, for our monthly fuel bonus, GP sends an email out with everybody's truck number, and they do it by category. If you're in a newer truck with an EPU, for example, that's who you're going to be ranked with for the bonus. Okay, they're not gonna. If you've got an older truck that you have to idle, where you don't have an EPU or an APU even, and you have to idle, they're not going to put you in the same category as somebody with a newer truck that doesn't have to idle. Okay, but the names aren't on there, but everybody's truck number is listed on there. How many miles they drove for the month, and what they got for fuel economy for the month. Okay. There's people running in newer Freightliners with an EPU, okay, that are down in the 5 MPGs, which is outrageous. To me, that's an abuse of the fuel and the equipment. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They got to be idling like endlessly. That's an abuse of the equipment. You know, trucks with an EPU, okay, you don't need to idle to have air conditioning, heat, and power. You know, you might have to, if you have to crank your AC because it's real hot, or crank your heat because it's super cold, in a 10-hour break, the truck might idle once. But I can't see that running the fuel economy and one of these newer Freightliners down into the fives. So, but that's what happens when, jeez. You know, drivers were, I'm not immune to this either. Like when GP did this, they cranked the governors down 1 mile per hour and took the smart pass away, which isn't that big of an issue. It was a bigger issue for me because I had a fast truck. Nobody from the company realized, you know, when my truck was brand new, nobody changed the factory settings. So I had a fast truck, and I've been driving it that way for a year and a half and getting good fuel economy. So, yeah, I bitched about at first about what they had done, because here I am. I consider myself a pretty decent driver. I get good fuel economy most months. I had a couple exceptions when I was actually living in my truck due to some family issues, and because I live in Texas and I was staying in my truck, you know, 1 month I took a week off, and the truck idled quite a bit without gaining any miles at all, so my fuel economy suffered. I didn't get the bonus, although I still didn't run down into the fives. I think 1 month I got 6.9, and then the very next month, and my problems continued on into the next month, and I ended up taking another home time where I was staying in my truck, and I think I got 7.1 that month, which came in just under the wire to get the fuel economy. But now I've got all that straightened out. I typically run in the eights, either a little bit shy or a little bit over 8 mpgs, and I don't really, I mean, I do set my cruise a little bit lower, but anyways, that's beside the point. The point is, you know, companies with all of these rules that they come up with probably didn't start out that way, and a big part of the reason why they institute these rules, well, it's because of the drivers, man. It's because of the fucking drivers. You know, they're not just coming up with rules just to come up with rules. Obviously, there was a problem, and the company had to step in and do something to correct it. That's what GP did, okay? They didn't yell at us. They didn't fucking treat us like a bunch of babies or anything, but they told us, this cost is going up. Help us out. Not enough people made a fucking effort. They said, fuck it. We're going to take away the smart pass, and we're going to crank the governors down. And now everybody can just deal with it. And I can't fault them for that. They pay for, if you're a company driver, okay, especially for something like this, right? Your company pays for the fucking fuel in your truck. If you're abusing it, if you're using way more fucking fuel than you should, what do you think is going to happen? You know, we have cameras in our trucks. The outward-facing camera is on. You don't get a choice in that. The GP, being the great company that they are, and realizing that inward-facing camera is a deal breaker for a lot of drivers, they decided to offer some incentive for having that inward-facing camera on. And if you don't want to have it on, you don't have to. Okay, the people who do get 2 cents a mile extra. All right, I don't. You know, when I've talked about this before, people have been like, "You mean you got to take a pay cut to have the camera facing off?" No. Well, if you want to look at it that way, you can. Okay, that's not how I look at it, because even without that 2 cents a mile that they offer to have that on, okay, I make better money than I have at any other company that I've been driving at since 2011, hands down. And I work half as hard. So to me, it's a bonus for the people that want to have that on. Okay, it's an incentive for them. I'm not taking a fucking pay cut. That's ridiculous. Okay, I am not taking the bonus. I would rather not have that on. They gave us a choice. How many? I don't know of any other carrier that actually does that. Every other carrier that runs cameras, they don't give you a fucking choice. Okay? GP at least gives you the fucking choice. However, I would be willing to bet that if enough GP drivers started getting tickets for things like no seatbelts, playing on their cell phones, jerking off, eating a sandwich with one hand and drinking a cup of coffee with the other while they're driving and get all kinds of tickets and shit, GP might take away that choice and say, well, you know what? We've got all of these drivers that are fucking this up and getting all these tickets. I guess it's time to turn these fucking cameras on so we can monitor this ourselves and eliminate these fucking drivers that are doing that before they get tickets and ruin our safety score. That's fucking on the drivers, man. When are drivers going to start taking fucking some goddamn responsibility for this shit? If you already work for a company that has all these rules, there's not much you can do about it. In fact, there's nothing you can do about it. But if you work for a fucking good company like I do, and this is what really bites my ass about what happened with this, with cranking the governors down over this fuel economy thing. It really fucking pisses me off that apparently we have a bunch of fucking drivers that just don't give a shit. Enough so that GP had to fucking apply this blanket policy to all of us. That's how you get Swift Incorporated. Right there. Eventually. You get enough bad drivers at a company, well, that's what's going to fucking happen. So, I guess this is my desperate call for help. This is not a complicated job. Well, I mean, you could say it's not complicated. It's not hard. All right? It's not hard to be a professional. It's not that hard. Okay? Stop looking like you're on fucking vacation. All right? You're out here to do a fucking job. You're not fucking on the beach somewhere. Okay? And start treating it like a job. And maybe when you're driving your truck, maybe obey the law. I think that would be good. Okay? You fucking clowns out there that go bombing through construction zones, 55 mile an hour construction zones at 70, you're part of the problem. Okay? You guys in governed trucks that are fucking running neck and neck with somebody down a 2-lane highway for 20 fucking miles, both y'all are fucking part of the problem. Okay? You guys that aren't paying attention to signs and not even going into scales because you didn't see the sign, you're part of the fucking problem. You guys that are playing on your fucking cell phones and running into the ditch, you're part of the fucking problem. You guys that don't know better than to drive when it's a fucking ice storm, you're part of the problem. You guys idling your trucks 24/7, you're part of the fucking problem. You. It's taken me a long time to get settled in with a company that I think treats me fairly, treats me with respect, and that I enjoy working for. It's taken me a long time to get here. Okay? And you can take this fucking video however you like. You can get pissed off at me. You can call me a super trucker. You can call me a faggot. I don't really give a flying fuck what you call me. You get pissed off. Okay? I don't really care. If you're a douchebag driver, you're part of the fucking problem. And people need to start fucking talking about this. Personal fucking responsibility, accountability, professionalism. Quit your bitching. If your fucking house is a fucking mess, quit your bitching about the company you work for, or your fucking dispatcher, or DOT regs, or how much fucking construction there is, or the way people drive their cars, or the way other truck drivers drive their trucks. If you're fucking up shit out here, shut your fucking mouth. Shut your mouth and clean up your own shit first. What have been off on a tangent there? What I was going to say is I'd like to finish out my time driving a truck with a good company. I don't want to see my company have to start doing a bunch of bullshit because they got a bunch of fucked up fucking drivers that just don't give a shit. I don't want to see that. And I don't particularly care. If you don't like GP Transco, I really don't care. That's great. I'm sorry. You don't like GP Transco. I fucking love it here. And a lot of other drivers that I know, that I talk to, okay, that I hang out with, love it here too. So we love it. And we would appreciate it. If you're going to be a fucking douchebag, if you're not going to be a professional, okay, if you're not going to give a shit about your fuel economy, if you're not going to obey the fucking laws, if you're not going to be on time for your pickups and deliveries, don't fucking come here, please. Do not come here. Just don't even apply. Why? You may as well go work for somebody like fucking Swift or CR England or JB Hunt. Go work there. You'll fit fucking right in. You got to be responsible, man, and you can't blame everybody else for all the problems out here, right? There's plenty of shit that's beyond our control, okay? There's plenty of legitimate gripes and grievances and things, both industry-wide and carrier-wide, okay, that need to get fixed. Okay, a lot of the stuff I'm talking about, all right, it would have never even been a fucking problem that needs to be fixed if not for the fact that there's so many screwed up drivers out here. Okay? You know, and if you work for a shit company, that's no reason to have a shit attitude. Okay? That's on you, man. If you're working for a company and you're not happy there, don't stay with that fucking company. And don't be miserable. All right, it seems like a lot of drivers, you know, work for these carriers that they're just not happy at, and they think that that somehow justifies them being an idiot out here. It fucking doesn't. That's within your control to change. And if you are unhappy, you should change it. It's just, it's getting worse, man. I mean, I love my job. I love being a truck driver. Or I sure as fuck wouldn't still be doing it if I didn't love it. Okay? But I see the decline. And most of what makes my job not so much fun anymore is other truck drivers. The shit that they do. You know, I can deal with the four-wheelers, right? I can deal with the construction. I can deal with the DOT regs. I can deal with shippers and receivers. I can deal with all that shit. Sometimes other truck drivers just, the crap that they do. It's like this morning, pulling into this fucking gate. There's a clear line to get into this place, and it was long. It was a freaking line here. Everybody showed up at 0700 this morning, okay? What happened? All kinds of people are trying to cut the line and actually doing it. Not even giving a fuck. Go right around everybody and then nose their truck on in front of somebody and force them to stop, because if not, they were going to hit you. They were literally going to run you over. It's the kind of drivers we got out here. They think the rules don't apply to them. And they drive the same way. They think the speed limits don't apply. They think the, trucks keep right don't apply. They think way stations don't apply. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know where these guys are getting their licenses or who's training them. But they think shit don't apply to them. And they make it horrific for a lot of us. I mean, this morning, I had to sit there and calm myself. I couldn't believe these guys were doing what they were doing this morning. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was clear there was a line. And it was clear it was a single file line. It was, there's no mistaking it. There isn't two spots to go through the gate. There's one in and one out. and there was a line to come in. And guys are just literally, they're in the other lane. They're in the outbound lane, bypassing the line to cut the line. They drive their trucks the same way out on the road. You know, the very second traffic slows down, instead of these guys trying to figure out first, you know, why is this traffic slowing down, their immediate reaction is to get left and try to go around everybody, which slows everything down even more, typically. But that's what they do. And then they'll just stay there. Because apparently their shit's more important than everybody else. You know, and the public perception of the American truck driver these days is at an all-time low. You can't tell me that's not 100% on the fucking drivers themselves, because it is. The public has a poor opinion of us because of the crap that they fucking see out here. And I don't blame them one bit. I see enough of it myself and just go, look at these fucking, what are these clowns doing? You know, I've taken to calling the stretch of I-80 through Joliet all the way to Gary, you know, between Joliet and Gary there, that stretch of I-80, I call it the Indianapolis 500 of trucks, because that's how guys drive their trucks through there. We're tailgating, we're drafting, okay? We're swerving in and out of lanes. We're speeding like Jesus. Most of that area from Joliet to Gary is 55. It goes to 60 at some point. But, I mean, there's a couple of 45-mile-an-hour construction zones through there. It seems like, I know it's not true, but it seems like to me, I'm the only motherfucker out there even remotely trying to do the speed limit. I am literally just, guys are just blowing through there. Yeah, I don't make the laws. I don't make them, all right? And a lot of places, I don't tend to agree with them. You know, I don't understand why some of the construction zones, in particular, the ones, again, on I-80, like in Ohio, you get into Ohio, they'll have a lane closed, but the road is actually in pretty good shape. I've hardly ever seen anybody out there actually doing anything. You know, they've got a lane closed, but I very rarely see anybody do it. I do not know why the speed limit is 50 through all of those. That seems a little ridiculous, and I get that, okay, but that's the fucking speed limit. That's the law. I didn't make the law. You don't get to make the law. That's what the fucking law is. This can already be a pretty shitty job. Can be a pretty shitty job. We get held up at shippers and receivers all the time. That's crappy. Nobody wants to get held up. You know, the pay can be low. That's crappy. A lot of things are crappy that we can't really control, but there's a lot of things that are crappy that we could control. Having some professional courtesy for one another out here would make it a lot less crappy. Not throwing your garbage everywhere in truck stops would make it a lot less crappy. Not pissing into the parking lot so much that in the summertime it's nauseating to smell it. That would make it a lot less crappy. Stop cutting people off when they're in line for things. That would make it a lot less crappy. Stop blocking other trucks in because you either can't back your truck up or you're too lazy to go put it in a spot. That would make it a lot less crappy. Stop taking a shower on the fuel island. That would make it a lot less crappy. Plenty of things you could do as a driver to make it a lot less crappy out here. It just seems like nobody gives a shit. I shouldn't say nobody. I'm kind of aggravated, like I said, because right off the bat, barely 30 minutes into my day, and I run into this issue at the gate this morning with guys being fucking retarded. You know, not even 30 minutes into my day. And that's becoming typical. It's it shit, there's days I don't even start my day yet, and somebody has fucking done something that it just made me go face palm. You know, like when I open up my curtains at midnight and I look in front of me and there's trucks piled up in front of me in such a way where it's either going to be very difficult to get out, if not impossible. There's nothing worse than having to go and knock on somebody's truck and wake them up, because I've never gotten a good response from somebody for that. Stop making it shitty. Please. And, I don't know, kind of funny. The people who need to watch this video probably aren't going to watch it. Probably not. But hell, it's a positive for me, though, because I get to fucking sit here and rant and get it out of my system and just get it out instead of just fucking stewing on it all day. So, I mean, I know it's not going to change anything. You know, if videos like this were going to change anything, we wouldn't have guys running around on here still like they're on vacation or at the beach wearing flip-flops and tank tops. And because there's been a specific channel out there that's been harping on that, well, since I can remember, and it doesn't seem to really be doing a lot. But I think it's better to get it off your chest and get it out there, even if it is going to be unpopular. So, I don't know, boys. I don't know. Well, I think I've said all I could say. And now it's time to just fucking move on and go on about my business here. Sorry the video was such a downer. I try to be pretty positive as much as I can. People who want to surround themselves with negativity 24/7, I don't quite understand that. So I hate being so goddamn negative. But yeah. Well, y'all take care. Be safe. Keep on trucking.